All right, so we're going to try Movement Lab a little bit different this month. I'm going to record some short videos that you can just practice with on your own time, and then we'll incorporate these principles into our Mindful Flow classes. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go over all of the basic movements in a traditional sun salutation. So, sun salutation is probably familiar to you by now. It's a big inhale, reach high, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to plank. Exhale, lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And typically you'll hold this downward facing dog for 3 to 5 breaths and then move on to something else, right? And sun salutations in a flow class are kind of the connector. But there's a lot of movements that we do that we often don't spend a whole lot of time breaking down. But moving with integrity will make our experience so much better. So we're just going to start with forward folds. So just start with an assessment. Just stand however you naturally stand and just take a forward fold. And I want you just to check in with your body. How does it feel? How does it feel in your lower back? How does it feel in the backs of your legs? Where do you feel this the most? Can your legs be straight? Can you touch the floor? Do your knees need to be bent? And there's no right or wrong, right? I just want you to kind of check in. So check in with your forward fold. Then we're going to break it down and just talk about what's all happening here in a forward fold. Right, so you've got flexion, right, through the front side of your body, and then length and extension through your whole posterior chain, from your heels all the way up your spine. And we want to build this from, let's really think about building it from the core out. Okay. So see if you can find that transverse abdominis engagement. So these are your deep, like corset-like muscles, not your superficial, like rectus six-pack muscles, but these deep muscles that go around this way. And you can find those by just and do that a few times. And you might even feel, if you bring your hands to your hip points and then bring your fingers in a couple of inches, you might feel with that action deep, deep, deep in your belly, that engagement. Now that's supporting through your lower back, right? Because when we're bending forward, we're going to be bending and you will have some flexion of your spine. But we want to support that so we're not overarching your lower back, right? Because you have natural curves in your spine, and your lumbar curve is this concave curve. It just naturally curves in. And so when we're folding forward, we're folding opposite of that, like natural default setting of our lumbar spine. Now, your lumbar spine is super mobile. It's made to forward bend. Like, you can forward bend, that's okay. But we don't want to overstretch that. And we don't really want our lower back to be the hinge point of a forward bend. So we're going to engage through our lower belly, okay? Not in a way that's rigid, right? So I want you to bring your hands around your rib cage and find that engagement, that deep in your low belly, and hold it in a way that isn't rigid or clenching. And you can still breathe into your lateral ribs and breathe into your back ribs and really think about your rib cage expanding with your breath and 360 degrees. So you found that deep core engagement. That's just support. And you can still breathe. And then our forward fold comes from the hip crease. But we need to have some freedom in our pelvis. So let's just bend your knees slightly and bring your hands to your thighs, and we'll find some pelvic rocks here. So really find an anterior tilt. So this is a forward tilt of your pelvis. Stick your bum back. And then tuck your tailbone under. And then stick your bum back. And then tuck your tailbone under. And just find some freedom here in your pelvis. So when we're tipping forward into a forward fold, we want to be in this forward tilt, in this anterior tilt, where we're hinging at our hip crease, and you've got support through your lower back. And then we need to have some length in our hamstrings. Now, the way our muscles work is we have an agonist and an antagonist, and a lot of, especially in our limbs. So when we engage the front of our leg, when we engage our quadricep muscles, then our hamstrings will release and relax. Okay. So when we're forward folding, to find that length through our hamstrings, we can lift up on our kneecaps. Okay. So our hamstrings have space. It's also really helpful for the freedom in our pelvis and our lower back to move the femur bone to the back plane of the body, or take our inner thighs back. So we've done this in a lot of classes, but find a pillow or a block or something and just squeeze it between your legs, okay? And then feel like you're pulling your feet apart without moving them anywhere. So you've kind of got, we're going to make like this spiral action up our legs. So your feet are pulling apart, and then you're going to squeeze your block with your inner thighs and push it back behind you. At the same time, find that engagement through your lower belly. Okay. And then from here, soften your knees and just come forward into a little bit of a chair, and we're going to find our pelvic tilts here again with the block. Now, so we've got this block is good information just to help us find that deep core engagement and bringing our femur bones to the back plane of the body. So really think about pushing back. Okay, engage through that, and let's just go into a forward fold. You can straighten your legs as much as you need to, engaging on that block, pushing it back with your inner thighs, and feeling like you're spreading your feet apart from each other without moving them anywhere. And then your lower belly draws in and up as you fold. And just see if this feels any different than the very first one at the beginning. Okay. Now that you've kind of explored. You can engage through your quadriceps, kind of lift up on your kneecaps. And then we'll go ahead and come on up. All right. So remember all those actions. We'll do a little bit to open through our hamstrings, and then we'll be done for the day. So I'm going to grab a strap. If you have anything that you can use as a strap, a scarf, a belt, even a hand towel, or, a dish towel can work. I'm going to come on my back. And this is super good to do maybe in the evenings before you go to bed. But just to find some hamstring length, I'm going to loop my strap over the ball of my foot and just lengthen and find all the natural curves of my spine. So we talked about that concave curve of your lower back. So your lower back's off the floor. The back of my pelvis is on the floor. My whole rib cage is on the floor. There's space under my neck. Back of my head's on the floor. Now work that right leg straight. And you can kind of like twist that foot from side to side a little bit. And if you can keep the natural curves of your spine and lengthen your left leg on the floor, go for it. Now, we're going to engage and release. So these isometric holds and this tensing of your muscles actually gives your muscles more space to relax. It's kind of tricking your nervous system. So while you're holding on to your strap, I want you to pull into your strap with your arms and then push with your foot and engage every muscle in the back of that right leg. And then release that, and you may have a little more space to stretch. Okay. And you can do that a few times on each side. So let's just do one more here. Push, 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 push. Release. You might have some more space. And then we'll just switch. For the sake of this exploration, make sure you find the natural curves of your spine. So you've got a little bit of space under your lower back. And try to get this left leg as straight as you can. So, if it's here with your leg straight, that's why you have a strap, your arm extender here. Just come to the place where you feel some stretch on the back of that leg, and then with all your might, push your feet into your strap, pull your strap into your foot, and then release that and bring it in a little closer. If you can keep the natural curves of your spine and lengthen that bottom leg, feel free. And then one more time, push, 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 and then release that effort, and maybe you've got a little more space. Now you could stay here and do this kind of work for, 10 or 15 minutes. And it would be really beneficial to the length of your hamstrings, which is so helpful in the function of your life, to be able to have open hamstrings and not be super tight. And then just release that. I'm going to show you one more thing that I think is fun to help work on forward folds. I'm going to do this up against the wall. So find a wall that has some space. And my wall's got, let's see what side. I guess maybe I'll try over here. I've got all this molding on my wall, so it's not super comfortable, but it still works. So stand kind of a distance away from your wall, and then come into a forward fold. Just let your feet be about sitting bone distance apart and see that they're parallel with each other. So your toes, your second toe, like the line from the base of your second toe to the center of your heel, those are parallel with each other. Your toes aren't turning out and they're not turning in. Just find your forward fold, and then you can tiptoe closer to the wall till your back or maybe your head comes to the wall. So can I get in the camera to come over here? And then you can start to kind of push your feet into the floor and push your upper back into the wall. And push your inner thighs back. And I think it feels really good to have the support, to be able to just kind of lean into the wall, push your feet into the floor, and push your inner thighs back. Now remember that, just support through your lower belly, right? Because I'm hinging at my hips. I'm not, I've got a gentle rounding in my lower back, but I'm not hinging through my lower back. And then when you're ready to come out of that, you can just kind of scoot your way out and then roll yourself up. Okay, so after all of that exploration, just return to where you started, and let's just assess again. Just feel how your standing forward fold goes. So pay attention to your feet. You've got those parallel feet. You've got support through your lower belly. You're squeezing that imaginary block and pushing it back behind you, so you've got space in the back of your pelvis, okay? And then you're going to hinge at your hips. Engage through your quadriceps as you fold. And you can find that energetic pulling of your feet apart without moving them anywhere, and that can create that spiral action of taking your inner thighs back. And just feel your forward fold. Just kind of check in the difference between now and the beginning of our exploration. And then go ahead and come out. So that's our first movement of our Sun Salutation. And so we'll incorporate this into our class this week. And I hope you enjoy that and keep revisiting. And I'll see you soon.